business-wise with Keller Williams, I was excited to see this post the other day, and I was also just excited just for us to visit. I can say from a personal experience that you handled and have handled, but definitely handled one of a couple of mine that were clients, longtime friends and longtime clients, and you had to hang in there for a minute and really help them. And so I was grateful for that. But I just wanted to get your insight. You posted it. I also had already read about it. It was crazy news. And just kind of give us some insight as we kind of navigate the new market here. Things that we have already known. I've been in business, I don't know, 20 years. You've been in business
20 years.
for a
Yeah.
minute,
Hmm.
um, and we try to caution. This is I will really want to talk about this
Oh,
because
yes.
we try to caution everyone all the time about what I like to refer to as shiny objects.
Yes. And there's so many of
And
them.
there's
I
so
mean,
many, there's a lot of examples of one, but I'm just going to kind of give you the floor and we're going to talk about the Federal Trade Commission and what the new news is. Give us some insight on that.
yes. So it just came down. They fined Open Door 62 million. I had to read it again because it should be billion. $62 million dollars,
$62 million. Yeah.
um, because of deceptive trade,
Mm.
which that tells you something right there. That's it hurt the consumer. And so what Open Door did and what they really continue to do, but there was times, that it was like rampant. They would come in, meet with a seller, or a seller, they do a lot of advertising. So the seller would reach out to them and say, I'm interested in selling my home to Open Door. They would do basically a video walkthrough. Potentially, they would have a contractor type person come by and look at the outside as well and just kind of evaluate the home and then give you a cash offer. And so that cash offer a lot of times would be good for 60 days. It just depends. I mean, there's been evolutions of how they did their business, but I've worked with several clients who had Open Door offers. And one of the first ones that I can remember was a very dear friend and my trusted plumber. He said he threw it over to me and he goes, Open Door is offering me 300, beat that, and I'll sell it with you. And I was like, okay. We ended up selling that house for 345. Now what they
Oh,
don't
wow.
tell you is they said 300 and he's like, well, it's kind of nice just to turn the keys over and to get the 300,000, but they also charge you. So in some cases they're charging you a 12% convenience fee.
Oh,
Well,
wow. So
I
under
charge,
market, so they're selling those. So let's unpack that a little bit. So we're
yeah.
under market of what it
Mhm,
could probably be sold for. That's
mhm.
in the market value. But then on top of that, it's not like I think the public gets this perception that if get there is a convenience factor. I have kids, I have dogs, I whatever.
Yes,
I
yes.
get the whole convenience factor, but I think the perception is that they're sometimes I think people try to sell something so that they don't have to pay the 3%, or potentially 6% realtor
Yeah.
fee. So what you're saying is not only are they or were they charging under value of what they could really get as far as market value, but on top of that, they're still charging a percentage or a commission or whatever.
Yeah, they
And
don't call it a commission.
yeah, okay.
But yes, and
Convenience fee. Nice.
yeah, I
Okay.
don't remember whatever the fee was called, but in some cases it was 12%, and in a lot of cases it was 12%. And
Wow.
then they do an inspection or they do a repairs fee on there. So you're having to repair the home that you wanted to just basically walk away from. So you're taking less money, you're paying more of a fee commission, and you're having to do the repairs. So what are you really getting? What you're getting is what you get when you trade in a car, which is I'm done. I get to wash my hands of this. And I think for anybody who does trade in a car, they understand that they're getting less than if they cleaned it up, put it on,
Made it
Facebook
look pretty.
Marketplace,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
And so you understand that. What I don't think people understood was that going to Open Door, they were getting not only less, but then they had these fees that a lot of times they weren't spelled out to, I guess, as openly as probably they should have been. And also, nothing against anybody who sold to Open Door. It's convenience, yes,
Yeah.
but they might have been naive. They might have thought this is what we need to do. And so they
Well, or
didn't know
maybe
that
they thought that
customer.
was their only option, too,
Exactly.
sometimes, yeah.
Exactly. And
Well,
yeah,
so, like, so when I call it or when I'm referring to it as a shiny object, so that be wary of things that seem easy or simple,
mhm,
simpler
you're
than they should
paying.
be. Is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Yeah, you're paying,
You're paying.
for
Yeah,
you
you're
are
paying.
paying for that convenience, which if it's a calculated cost and you say, "You know what? I know that I could sell it for more, but I'm choosing to do that," then okay. I mean, it's your choice. This is still a free country.
Sure.
But what I don't believe happened was a lot of people didn't realize that the open market, actually trusting a local realtor who knows what they're doing, not just somebody who just got their license, but somebody who does business in this market. And I can tell you, I had one where
You live
it
here too.
yeah,
You have a
yes,
respect for the community. You live
yes,
here. I from a lending side, I always say, when somebody I said this recently, it was kind of funny. They were like, "Well, why would I pick you over this guy?" I'm like, "Well, I'm within choking distance, you know? Like if
exactly. That's what I say too.
if it
I said, I
doesn't
want to be able
if
to
I
put
don't go,
my
if it doesn't go well, you know where my office is down the street, and I live here, and my daughter goes to school here, so I'm within choking
yeah,
distance. So local
that's
matters,
exactly
but
yes, that's exactly it. And that's very true right there. Is being local and being a high volume producer. Now I will tell you, there I went on a listing appointment. It was probably last fall, and it was a house that needed work. And they said Open Door has given us an offer, and they told me what that offer was. And I looked at them straight in the face and I said, "And what are the fees?" And they told me what the fees were. They actually showed me, and it was higher than I knew I could get. And I said, "Take it." Because honestly, Open Door didn't take into account the location of this house, the lack of upgrades on this house, the floor plan, the things. It just looked at dollars per square foot in the Flower Mound market and made them an obscene offer. And then that house sat for I don't know how long. I need to look it up. It's probably still sitting
yeah.
as an Open Door house. And I mean, they were at the perfect time. They actually got
Wow.
an incredible deal. And because I know this market very well, I was there to bounce to say, yeah, that is a good deal. I would sign it today and make sure that, you get that taken care of, because truly I think somebody's made a math error. And as long as you get that money, and so then they did like a 30-day close because they needed to move out. And I checked back with them and all the way through closing. And I said, "So how did it go?" And they go, "We got our money." And I was like, fantastic. I mean,
See,
the
that's great,
yeah,
those
I mean,
stories are
so I'm not
great.
saying that it's always going to be bad. I truly think that in the increasing market that we experienced in fall of 2021, when it was just exponential going up, that Open Doors algorithms just kept going up and it didn't keep going up. So
No.
they took a bath
Well,
on that
and
one.
and back to the Federal Trade Commission. I mean, the Federal Trade Commission is no joke.
Right.
Like they're, it's not like, I think there's some smoke here. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's a big deal for them to get to that point.
Yeah.
So I think that is meaningful and I also think that it might not only for that company, but it kind of could put alerts on some
Mhm.
others doing
Yeah, there's
similar
others.
things. There's
Yeah,
definitely others
Knock,
out there.
Orchard. There's quite a few programs out there that buy your home. Then
Mhm.
there's some that, and the client that you and I talked about, we talked about them using this where they can buy a home before selling, and
Mhm.
then and I know you've got bridge loans and some options as well. But if it's just the convenience, like I've got kids and dogs and I don't want to have to show the house while living in it, there are
Right.
other options that are a lot less money that
Right.
you can have that still have the convenience of being able to buy without selling.
I think
And
so too. And maybe you can speak to this, and I don't want to get in your lane, but I do feel like with the market has had it, we're having a shift. And I love that the Gary Keller book, Shift
yes,
Happens. It's an
yes,
old book, but
hmm,
Shift does happen. I've got the book and I wanted to
yeah,
hold it up and I just didn't forgot it today, but I was going to hold it up because
I
one,
probably have one here
the
somewhere.
title is great, but if you go back and I would just encourage, I've been really encouraged some young agents, less than 2 years, to read it.
Yes,
I think it's a great book. But as the market has started doing this, I think now that it's a worthy question. we would like to buy this, but we can't move for 60 days, or
Mhm.
you know, maybe, I mean, I
Whatever
don't know
it
if we're at the contingency stage yet, but I just think now we can start thinking about things that we can ask for that we maybe couldn't ask for before.
Truly, I mean, I'm seeing sellers pay title policies again. I'm
Yep,
seeing
me too.
them negotiate and contingencies. I think, well, the last couple that I've done that were contingencies on my listings, they were contingent on them closing, not on them selling. So it was, hey, we're closing in 3 weeks, we're all good. And so, yeah, that was fine. But yeah, I mean, as far as, I mean, we've written a new or a few contingent offers and they haven't been accepted. So we're not quite there yet. But
Yeah,
I bet in September we will be, because I know just the calendar. I mean, we've got so many incredible market forces that are happening. And right now, as we're talking, school started, and that causes typically, certainly in the suburbs, a slowing of the market
taking a
because then
breath. Yeah,
yeah.
right.
And so,
Yep.
and that usually goes through September. So we're coming into a time when um, we may be able to, sorry, we may be able to
No,
see
good.
some contingencies and
Sure.
come through.
Well, so the last two things I wanted to mention was congratulations on your top three Best in Denton
Thank
County
you. I know, and they
nomination.
used my old team name, which was crazy. It's Wise Advantage with Keller
Okay.
Williams, and not my new team name, which is Livian. And so I'm like, okay, that's still me. So
That's still you. That's still
yeah,
you.
well, thank you. I was
And that's
honored,
great.
and
And
shocked.
I'm hoping you're going to get to go to the party
Yeah,
tonight. Yeah, so there's that. So congratulations on that. And then the last thing too is the first Thursday of every month for the rest of the year. It will vary in time, but usually it'll be around lunchtime, 12:30, 1:30. We're going to do a navigating home ownership class, a virtual class for anyone.
great.
And
Oh, great.
when we have people that come on the virtual class, we it's not a commercial. Like, good advice, and there is a
Mhm.
section, and you made me think of it when you were talking about your that couple with the open door offer. There is a section on there where it's like, look, I don't have to be the lender, but your lender should know this, this, and this. And if you're working with a lender that doesn't know these things, it doesn't have to be me, but get a
Right.
new lender.
Yes.
So and that feel like that's the same advice that you give. And
Mhm.
when you're doing it for a long time, we've seen the waves. Like, to us, it's
Mhm.
like, we're
Yep.
we're here. So what is there? We just go to work every day. So
That's right.
uh,
That's exactly
that's
it.
that's and we don't watch news that much. So it's
That's
like,
right.
okay, watch that less, work more.
Mhm.
But
Exactly.
yeah, those are the last couple things I just wanted to mention. And maybe we'll get do a part two, because I'm
Yeah.
sure there's going to be more news. And I say this too. I even say this to people on my team. Like, we're going to hear, and we are hearing some big news, like some big changes, lending changes, um, layoffs and things like that. And
Yeah.
we were and no and our we have great empathy for those situations. We feel like that those our teams, your team, kind of, we live lean, and we live lean intentionally, so that when we have markets that shift, we don't have high highs and low lows with our staff.
Exactly.
And you did
Exactly.
post, I want to mention that you posted that you're looking for someone, a listing
Yeah,
agent or
we're
something
looking for a listing manager. So somebody who is highly detailed. If this
that
is
has
the
skills.
person,
Do they have to be licensed?
they can be on there. We really want experience. So if
Okay.
they've been a listing manager in another team, but they're not licensed, then that's okay. We're not asking them to do anything that would cause them to need a license.
Okay.
So we're fine there, but it's very good if they have experience, because this is what I call the air traffic controller. The realtors are the pilots. They're the ones that make sure that all the listings, everything happens and there's no crashes. And that's very
That's
important. And
great. Yeah, that's a
yes,
great analogy.
yep, mhm,
Yeah. Then yeah, we have to yeah, I on our team, I tell other support staff that we have to the loan officers are your customers, as well as the customers are our
yes,
customers.
yes,
So, yes,
exactly.
I like the air traffic controller,
Yep,
though. I'm going to use that. That is
you use
the three
that.
o'clock meeting today. I'm using that. So, well, I appreciate your time, and
Thank you.
And, again, I feel like we could do this again and probably talk for a lot longer, but just now this snippet of information and getting the information out there and sharing it. I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
definitely. Well, I appreciate you and, having a lender in your court is amazing, and you've gotta have somebody who's gonna be able to deliver, and Stacy, you deliver, and I appreciate
Oh, well,
that.
that's so nice. That's so nice of you to say. I can't wait to see you at the party. Yay.
Yes, exactly.